Have you ever paused and asked yourself, why does something that once brought me ease, comfort, even joy, now feel rushed, disconnected, or frustrating? Why does it feel like you're doing everything the way you always did, yet something's missing? You're not alone. As men age, their bodies and minds evolve, not with fanfare, but in quiet, often unnoticed shifts. It's subtle, but powerful. And what once worked like clockwork in your 30s or 40s may not serve you anymore at 60, 70, or beyond. Here's the problem. We rarely talk about it, especially the private routines we carry into older age, and especially around masturbation, a word that makes some flinch, others laugh, and most go silent. But here's the real talk. Masturbation in your senior years isn't just normal, it's essential. Essential to your physical health, your emotional balance, your mental clarity, even your confidence, yes, sexual and otherwise. But only if it's done mindfully. The issue? Too many older men unknowingly carry outdated beliefs and unhelpful habits into this deeply personal act. These aren't just quirks, they're mistakes. Silent mistakes, identified by top doctors and men's health experts, that could be robbing you of satisfaction, or worse, contributing to long-term dysfunction. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 7 masturbation mistakes most men over 60 don't realize they're making, and what to do instead. But this isn't just about avoiding what's wrong, it's about reclaiming what's rightfully yours, your peace, your pleasure, your power. Before we dive in, take a moment, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss a health tip made just for you. And one quick ask, if you find this helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, and let me know how I can improve. Your voice matters, your health matters. Let's begin. Mistake 1, believing in the semen retention myth. This one's a biggie. A lot of older men, especially those scrolling through online forums or watching self-improvement gurus, fall into the trap of thinking that withholding ejaculation is the key to strength, clarity, or higher testosterone. This belief, it's not new, but it is outdated. Rooted in spiritual traditions and sprinkled with internet pseudoscience, the semen retention myth claims that abstaining will make you sharper, more masculine, more disciplined. Now here's the nuance. Short-term abstinence may create temporary hormonal shifts. That part isn't totally off. But the truth? It's far more complex and far more human. Your body was designed for natural release. Suppressing that function long-term, especially as you age, can backfire. We're talking pelvic congestion, discomfort, increased irritability, mood swings, sleep disruptions, and even a higher risk of prostate issues. Let me say that again. For men over 60, these aren't minor annoyances. They're health red flags. Doctors agree. Healthy, moderate ejaculation supports hormone balance, relieves tension, and boosts your overall well-being. It's like a safety valve. Like stretching a tight muscle or taking deep breaths when anxious, it keeps things flowing. But here's what's even more important. Masturbation isn't about proving your willpower. It's about honoring your body's wisdom, finding balance, listening to your needs without shame. So the next time you hear someone say, "Real men retain," ask yourself, what else have I been clinging to that might actually be holding me back? Because myth-based discipline often leads to disconnection, not strength. And that brings us to mistake number 2, one that most men repeat without realizing it, even those who think they've got this all figured out. Mistake 2, using the same grip and technique every time. Let's be honest, most men are creatures of habit. And when it comes to masturbation, that habit often started young, in secret, with one goal: speed. That same grip, same motion, same pressure, carried for decades like a ritual. But here's what nobody tells you. That routine may feel safe, but it's quietly working against you. Why? Because the body, especially your nervous system, adapts. If you stimulate it the same exact way every time, it gets locked into a loop. Your brain learns, this is the only way to feel pleasure. And over time, that loop gets tighter, less flexible, less responsive. So what happens? You may find yourself struggling to climax, feeling emotionally detached during the act, or worse, having difficulty connecting during intimacy with a partner, because your body is no longer tuned to anything except that one repetitive rhythm. This isn't about judgment, it's about biology. But here's the good news. Your nervous system is capable of rewiring. You can wake up your senses again, and it's not hard. You just have to shake things up. Start small, switch hands, try a lighter grip or alternate pressure, change your rhythm, use slow circular motions instead of straight lines. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, staying in the moment. You're not abandoning what works. You're expanding your experience. Think of it like exercise. If you do the same bicep curl every day for 30 years, eventually the muscle stops growing. But change the angle, add resistance, engage more of your body, and suddenly that muscle wakes back up. Same goes here. Pleasure is like a muscle. It thrives on variety. It's not about novelty for novelty's sake. It's about reclaiming your body's ability to respond in new, richer, more satisfying ways. Ways that make you feel alive, not just functional. So ask yourself, when was the last time I explored something new, just for me? Because if you don't break the routine breaks you. Now, even if you switch things up, there's another trap nearly every man falls into. One that's so deeply ingrained, you may not even know you're doing it. And that brings us to mistake 3, rushing through the experience. This one, it's not just a mistake, it's a cultural epidemic. Most men learn to masturbate in secret, often at a young age, behind a locked door, quick, quiet, get it done and move on. That pattern becomes muscle memory. It doesn't matter if you're now 63 with a paid-off mortgage and no one pounding on the door. Your body still remembers, go fast, get it over with. But here's the cold truth. Rushing turns a sacred act into a mechanical one. It becomes less about pleasure and more about relief. You climax, sure, but afterward, you feel empty, flat, unsatisfied. You might even think, is something wrong with me? When in fact, nothing is wrong, except the pace. Slowness is not laziness. Slowness is power. It gives your body space to awaken. It gives your arousal time to build. And most importantly, it brings your mind back into the experience. When you slow down, you breathe deeper, you become more curious, you notice sensations you usually skip past, your emotions come online. Instead of racing toward a goal, you're feeling every step of the journey. And that's where the magic lives. This isn't about taking 45 minutes for no reason. It's about presence. Light candles if you want, play music, set the scene, even take time beforehand to stretch, relax, and arrive in your body. Yes, it might sound unusual, but if you treat this like just another habit to cross off your list, that's all it will ever be. But if you approach it as an intimate act of care, of genuine curiosity and attention, you'll unlock levels of pleasure you haven't felt in years, maybe ever. So here's your challenge. Tonight, don't rush. Turn off the autopilot, slow everything down, and just feel. You might just be shocked at what your body can still do when you actually give it the chance. And yet, even with all this awareness, many men are still holding themselves back in ways they can't see. In part 3, we're going to unpack something most older men completely overlook, the rest of their body. Because if you think all your pleasure is located in one place, you're missing out on more than half the experience. Mistake 4. Ignoring the rest of your body. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you touched your body without an agenda? Not for pain, not for grooming, not for a medical check, but just to feel present, alive, connected? For most men, the answer is, it's been a while. Or worse, never. Here's the issue. Over the years, Men are culturally conditioned to think of pleasure as a single location event, genitals only, task-oriented, isolated. Like everything worth feeling is located in that one small region. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Your entire body is wired for sensation. It's a living map of nerve endings, each one capable of sending pleasure signals to your brain if you simply give them attention. We're talking inner thighs, lower abdomen, chest, neck, lips, even the perineum, the sensitive area between the scrotum and anus, often overlooked but rich in nerve pathways. When you focus only on one part of yourself, you reduce the act of self-pleasure to a narrow transaction. But when you include the whole body, it becomes a relationship with yourself. And here's where it gets beautiful. Touching other areas doesn't just enhance physical pleasure, it boosts emotional intimacy with yourself. You become more present, more curious, more alive. This is where true connection begins, not with friction, but with attention. Try this. Massage your chest and abdomen before you even begin. Explore your thighs, hips, and back with gentle hands. Notice what feels good, not just sexually, but soothingly. You're not being weird or experimental. You're being complete. Remember, your body at 60 or 70 is not broken, it's complex. And it deserves to be experienced in full, not rushed through, not reduced to just one zone. So next time, ask yourself, what part of me have I been neglecting? Because I didn't think it was allowed to feel good. The answer could unlock more than pleasure. It could unlock peace, awareness, and a whole new kind of self-respect. But even if you do all this, slow down, vary your technique, explore your full body, there's still one thing that could be silently sabotaging your experience. It's simple, it's often ignored, and it can completely change how comfort and pleasure feel in your hands, literally. Let's talk about it. Mistake 5. Avoiding lubrication. Let's just cut to the chase. If you're still masturbating without lubrication, you're probably missing out on at least half the pleasure you could be having. Why? Because as we age, the skin naturally becomes drier and less elastic. You may not notice it during the day, but during intimate moments, it matters. The same touch that once felt satisfying in your 30s might now feel uncomfortable, abrasive, even irritating. And here's the kicker. That discomfort doesn't just hurt, it tells your nervous system to pull back, to stop feeling. Over time, that can lead to reduced sensitivity, inflammation, or even tiny skin tears you never knew were happening. Using a high-quality lubricant can transform the experience from something mechanical to something luxurious. It enhances glide, softens friction, awakens dormant nerve endings, and mimics the natural feel of partnered intimacy, something that can be deeply soothing emotionally, not just physically. And for men with arthritis, joint stiffness, or reduced hand mobility, lubrication doesn't just enhance pleasure, it makes the act easier. Less strain, less effort, more flow. Yet so many older men avoid it. Why? Habit shame. Or the belief that needing lube is somehow less manly. But let me tell you, using tools that support your changing body isn't weakness. It's wisdom. We don't shame people for wearing glasses. We don't mock people for using orthopedic shoes. So why on earth would we think using lubricant is anything other than smart self-care? You're not 25 anymore, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a gift. You've earned the right to know your body deeply, to treat it gently, to enhance your experience instead of enduring it. So go ahead. Try silicone-based lube for a longer-lasting glide, or water-based for easy cleanup and a more natural feel. Warm it in your hands first. Make it part of the ritual. Give yourself permission to feel good again. Not because you're chasing youth, but because you're finally treating yourself with the care you always deserved. And yet, even when the body is on board, comfortable, awakened, and responsive, there's one more obstacle that continues to block pleasure for millions of men over 60. And it's not in the hands, it's not in the body, it's deep in the mind. In Part 4, we'll explore one of the most powerful barriers to healthy self-pleasure, shame and guilt, where it comes from, how to finally let it go, and what emotional freedom really looks like for men like you. Mistake 6. Feeling shame or guilt. About the act, let's get brutally honest. So many men over 60 grew up in a time when sex, especially solo sex, was something you didn't talk about. It was seen as a secret, a sin, a sign of weakness, or worse, something shameful. Even if your logical mind now knows better, your emotional wiring might still be carrying old messages. Good men don't do that. It's dirty. It's only for the young. At my age, I shouldn't still need this. Sound familiar? If so, you're not alone, and you're certainly not broken. These messages were planted early, by culture, religion, family, or fear, and they burrow deep into your identity. But here's the truth. There is nothing shameful about caring for your body, nothing dirty about exploring your own pleasure. In fact, when approached with intention and respect, masturbation becomes a form of self-connection, a space for stress release, emotional grounding, even spiritual reconnection. The shame we carry? It's inherited, passed down like an old coat that never fit, but we were told to wear it anyway. It's time to take it off. And here's something powerful you might not know. Studies show that regular self-pleasure in older adults leads to better sleep, lower stress, improved mood, decreased risk of depression, and even higher self-confidence. But none of those benefits can bloom if you're shrouded in guilt. So how do you let go? You start by asking the hard question: is this belief truly mine, or was it given to me? Because once you realize the shame isn't even yours, you can release it. You are not a boy sneaking around. You are a grown man reclaiming his body, his time, and his right to feel good without apology. Let that sink in. Now, emotional freedom is a game changer. But even with the right mindset, body awareness, and technique, there's one last mistake keeping men from experiencing the full range of pleasure they're capable of. It's simple, it's practical, and for most, it's hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about it. Mistake 7. Ignoring tools and enhancements designed for men over 60. There's this unspoken myth that if you need tools to feel pleasure, you've somehow failed. Let's call that what it is: nonsense. Your body at 65 is not the same as it was at 25. That's not a tragedy, it's a transition. With age comes change, and with change comes the need for support. Think about it. You wouldn't expect to lift weights without a proper grip. You wouldn't walk long distances without shoes that fit your aging feet. So why would you approach sexual pleasure the same way you did 3 decades ago? Here's the reality. As we age, dexterity changes, sensation may dull, grip strength might decrease. The angles and techniques that once worked may now feel awkward or even painful. But instead of adjusting, too many men push through. They try harder instead of smarter. And that's where tools come in. There are now entire categories of devices created specifically for older men, not to replace touch, but to enhance it. We're talking soft silicone sleeves that mimic natural touch and adapt to changing sensitivity, ergonomic designs that reduce strain on joints or wrists, gentle massagers that stimulate areas like the perineum or inner thighs, vibrating aids that promote circulation and help reawaken nerve endings. These tools are not a surrender. They're a solution. They say, I know my body, I respect my needs, and I'm willing to support them, just like I would in any other area of health. Using enhancements doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you a man who's adapted with grace, intelligence, and care. You don't lose your sexuality with age. You evolve it. And in many ways, you're more equipped now than ever before to feel something richer, deeper, and more emotionally real. Because you know yourself. You've lived. You've lost. You've learned. And now, you get to apply all of that to a part of your life most people ignore until it's too late. Pleasure isn't gone, it's waiting. And the tools available today are keys to unlocking a version of intimacy you've only scratched the surface of. So now we've covered the 7 most common mistakes that silently rob older men of their pleasure, confidence, and connection. 1. Believing the semen retention myth. 2. Using the same grip and technique. 3. Rushing the experience. 4. Ignoring the rest of your body. 5. Avoiding lubrication. 6. Carrying shame or guilt. 7. Overlooking powerful tools and enhancements. But there's one final shift that ties everything together. It's not just physical, it's not just emotional, it's a new mindset, and it can change everything. In the final part, we'll bring it all home. How to develop a complete approach to self-pleasure that's fulfilling, respectful, and powerfully aligned with the man you are today. A new mindset and a complete approach to self-pleasure. Let's pause for a moment. Step back from the tips, the tools, the techniques, and talk about something bigger. Because the most powerful shift that happens after 60, it's not in your body, it's not in your hormones, it's in your mindset. For so many years, maybe even decades, you've carried certain ideas about what this part of your life is supposed to look like. That pleasure has an expiration date, that intimacy is only for couples, that your changing needs are a problem to be fixed, not honored, that taking time for yourself is selfish, shameful, or unnecessary. But what if none of that was ever true? What if this chapter, yes, this one, is where the richest, most authentic version of intimacy begins? Because here's what no one told you growing up. Self-pleasure isn't just about sex, it's about connection. Connection to your body, your history, your strength, your curiosity, and most of all, your worth. When you begin to shift your mindset from habit to honor, from release to ritual, everything changes. Suddenly, this private moment is no longer about chasing a feeling. It becomes an act of care, a way to slow down, to listen, to show yourself the same tenderness you've given everyone else in your life, but rarely, if ever, offered to yourself. So how do you create a complete approach? You start by integrating everything we've talked about. Let go of myths like semen retention that limit your vitality. Break repetitive patterns and explore variety in touch and technique. Slow down, let each moment be intentional, not rushed. Include your full body, not just the usual places, but the hidden ones too. Use lubrication to enhance comfort and awaken dormant sensitivity. Release guilt and shame. Because they were never yours to carry, embrace tools and enhancements that support your current reality, not your younger self's expectations. And most importantly, you reframe the whole act as an opportunity, a gift. Because when you finally make peace with your body, when you stop seeing change as loss and start seeing it as evolution, you unlock something far more valuable than performance. You unlock peace, power, and a deeper, wiser version of pleasure than you've ever known. You stop chasing who you were, and you start celebrating who you are. This is not about getting back to anything. This is about becoming, fully, confidently, intentionally, the man your younger self hoped he'd grow into. One touch at a time, one breath at a time, one moment of presence, compassion, and respect at a time. And here's the truth that matters most. You are not past your prime, you are just entering it, with your eyes open and your heart steady. Reaching your 60s, 70s, or even 80s doesn't mean the end of intimacy. It means stepping into a more intentional, honest, and empowered form of it. We've covered the 7 most common and most fixable mistakes older men make when it comes to self-pleasure. But what you do with that knowledge, that's where everything changes. You now have the power to reclaim your confidence, reconnect with your body, release shame that never belonged to you, and reimagine pleasure, not as a guilty secret, but as sacred self-respect. This isn't just about improving sexual wellness. This is about healing, about owning your wholeness, about writing a new narrative, one built not on fear, but on freedom. You are not alone, and you are not done growing. Not even close. In fact, many men find that with just a few small changes, just a shift in mindset and care, their sense of pleasure and vitality doesn't just return, it flourishes. So here's what I invite you to do now. Take one thing from this video, just one, and apply it tonight. Then tomorrow, another. Let each small step become a new beginning. You deserve that. Your body deserves that. And your life? It's still full of discovery, surprise, and yes, deep, grounding satisfaction. Because in the end, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. If this message spoke to you, if it felt honest, useful, or freeing in any way, please type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and let me know how we can serve you better. Every voice matters. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wise Wellness for more content that meets you exactly where you are, without shame, without filters, and always with love. Thank you for watching. My name is Dr. Emma, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourself, deeply.